Hey YouTube and my subscribers, today I'll be showing you how to take and oil your sealed bearings inside your hub carriers. Now today, the tools you will need for the back wheel, you will need your wheel lug wrench, a 2.0 Allen wrench, 2.5, and this tool. Now first off, you want to take your wheel off. Then after you get your wheel off, you want to take the nut that's behind the wheel that holds like the wheel from free spinning. You want to take that off. I'll show you how to do that. Now after you get your wheel off, it would look like this behind there. Now there's a nut right here that holds the wheel on. This nut right here. You want to take this tool that looks like this and stick it down behind this nut. Then after you've done that, you want to pull back just a little bit or forward, whichever way it's going to come off, and it should just pop right off, and it looks like this. Then behind that, there's a pin. You want to slide that pin out, and it will look like this. It will be a real small looking pin. And you will need a handkerchief or paper towels. Then take your 2.5 Allen wrench, take the little silver screw out of the bottom. Make sure you do not lose any of the pieces. Now this screw on the bottom that goes and holds the hub carrier on, and it's only got about a couple of threads. Then you have to push it out with another Allen wrench. And after you get this out, you want to take your 2.0 Allen wrench and just simply loosen the screw on top of the hub carrier. You need WD-40 too. Any kind of WD-40 would work, as long as it's in the blue can. I'll show you what that looks like too. That's what they recommend for these trucks, WD-40. And just simply take the other Allen wrench, stick it through the hole, and push that pin out. Unscrew so far, then you have to push it out. It'll be hard to do because it'll be real tight. Looks like this. As you see, it's only got a couple of threads. Then next off, take your 2.0 Allen wrench and take this screw that holds the turnbuckle off. There's also a washer on the outside of here, on the front of this hub carrier. You need to take that off. Looks like that. Then it should look like this so far. And take 2.0 Allen wrench, loosen the hub carrier turnbuckle screw. Now they will be tight to get off with the aluminum ones because you got to put Loctite on it. So it may take a little while to get this off because of the Loctite. Oh, it just broke loose. But after you get the turnbuckle off, you can go ahead and pull the drive shaft out. These screws are kind of hard to take out with the aluminum because you got Loctite. Because if you don't put Loctite on there, the screw will back out when you're running. So after you get that screw out, you can leave it in the turnbuckle. It won't hurt. You should be able to just mostly do it by hand. If it's still tough to do it by hand, just keep turning the Allen wrench. Now I got MIP, lightweight drive shaft, so it's all going to come out at once, as you can see. And the hub carrier will come off. And you want a handkerchief to clean the outside of the hub carrier. Here's what the WD-40 looks like. As you can see, it's got an adjustable nozzle. You can either spray it like this or flip it up. You got this end. Just simply wipe off the outside of the hub carrier, because you do not want that dirt inside of it. After you get it all wiped off, take an Allen wrench. I used a 2.5. Take and put it inside to push the bearing out. Now when you put this back in, you won't put WD-40 on the inside of the hub carrier, because it will come out easier. Now if it's dried up and the water got it stuck in there, it will be hard to get out at first. I recommend putting grease inside of it. Now if there's still grease in there, it will have dirt in it. But as you can see, it's starting to come out. Just simply stick it through there and just simply push on it. It should come out. It looks like this. Just simply take the other one out too. Doesn't matter how they go in, because they're both the same size. And just remember, push on the inside. If you take the back one off first, it's easier to do the front one. Sometimes it'll be stuck. You might have to put WD-40 on it. Alright, this one's going to be a pain, so I'm going to put WD-40 on it to get it out. I'm just going to let that sit for a couple minutes. Now what you want to do, to the bearing that's already out, wipe it off real good. Make sure it's not damaged or anything like that. All you do is look for cracks on that blue piece on there. If it's not cracked up, it's in still pretty good shape. If it rolls really good when you took it off and doesn't sound like it's grinding or clicking, like cracking and stuff inside, it's fine. If it's not doing that. Now if it is, you need new bearings. But as you can see, still turns real smooth. No cracking or popping. So I'm going to try to get this other bearing out. They can be a pain. Sometimes I use the dry shaft to push it out. It's still stuck in there, so I'm going to have to take and maybe there it comes. Usually WD-40 gets it out, but that bearing is stuck in there. It's going to be hard to get out. I'm going to try to put some WD-40 on the face of it. It's starting to come out, but it's going to be tight. What it is, dirt and stuff gets in there, and it causes stuff to stick together. I'm simply going to run my finger around on the face of the bearing to work it in. Get that bearing out, check it out. Make sure it's not grinding. It sounds alright, but it's dirty. It needs to be cleaned. As you can see the dirt coming out of it. They say these are waterproof, but you still want to do this anyway after you run it in wet conditions, because it can mess them up. As you can see, the dirt's coming out of it. So I'm going to simply wipe it off. Try to push on it again. Sometimes the tire tool would work on it if it's small enough, which this one ain't. So I'm going to try a dry shaft again on it. And it's pushing it out a little bit. This can be a pain to do. I didn't know it was going to be this hard to get out, but it's coming out now. It's because there's dirt in there and stuff like that. But it's coming out. It's being a pain. There, it come out, as you can see. And what you want to do is just simply take the Allen wrench and push on it. It might come flying out of there. You never know about these bearings. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They are a pain though, so you gotta watch it. They do come flying out. No, it didn't this time. As you can see, that thing's dirty on both sides. Dirt got in there around that part of the jaw shaft. As you see, there's dirt on the threads and stuff. So what you want to do, take your WD-40, put some on the threads of the jaw shaft, and simply rub your finger around on them threads. Make sure all the dirt comes off of it. Then wipe it off. Next off, you want to wipe where the hub carrier was. Do the same thing on both sides. You put your drive shaft back in. And just let it sit there. Now take a handkerchief and wipe out the inside of the hub carriers. And if it's dirty, you will see dirt in there. But these are really dirty. But best off, take some WD-40, spray it in there, all around. WD-40 will take the dirt out of there. That's what it's meant to do. Then simply wipe it out until you get all the dirt out of it. Take a Q-tip and run it around inside that bearing and the bearing mark, as you can see, that separates the bearings. Run that Q-tip around in there. Make sure you get that dirt out. After you get all that dirt out, take the bearings, squirt some WD-40 on them, lay it down like a piece of cardboard. Watch for that WD-40 to disappear on top of that bearing. And after it disappears, just flip it over, set it down, do the same thing to the other side. You'll see it foaming and bubbling. That means it's going in there. Then just simply rub it around your hands a little bit and turn it. And after you turned it, it should still move real smooth. After you've done that, take WD-40 and spray it inside the hub carrier. And if you got some grease, you can smear that in there too. It will help next time when it comes out. And if it don't, that means that the grease thinned and it didn't work that well. Now what I'm going to do is simply take the good side of the bearing, if it's not messed up, which it should look real good on both sides, like that. I'm going to coat the whole bearing in WD-40. Now make sure it's still got WD-40 inside the hub carrier. I'm going to push this bearing down inside this hub carrier. And what you want to do when you put it back in, get it even to where it's real even. Then simply just push straight. I'm going to push that straight in, and it should click a little bit. And it should be even with the top edge of the hub carrier, or a little bit below the surface. Just simply turn it like this a little bit. Work that WD-40 in there. And take the Allen wrench and slightly push it back out. And then what you want to do is just simply work that back and forth to help the threads on the hub carrier. Simply push out a little bit. Put some more WD-40 in there, because you want this to stay lubricated. Now I'm pushing it back in. What it's doing is pushing that WD-40 around the bearing, so it'll make it easier when it comes back out. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other bearing. Suck it WD-40. This will help them bearings last a long time. I'll rub that in real good on both sides. Now the WD-40 will turn yellow. That means it's pushing the dirt out. That's what it's meant to do. As you can see, I'll tell you, it says multi-use. Then on the back of the can, it says shake well. Then it says protects, penetrates, and also displaces moisture. That means it will help you when you're running it in the water. It will push that water out. Now what you want to do is just simply look at the other bearing, make sure it's in good shape like the other one. And if it's got dirt on the outside of it, take and wipe it off again. Which it looks like it's fine. It's got a little bit of dirt on it. I'm going to take a Q-tip and wipe around the face of the bearing on each side. And see how dirty it was? Now what I'm going to do is take the back part of the hub carrier, lay it down, soak it again. Then I'm going to take the bearing and push it into the hub carrier. What you want to do, make sure you get it level too. Then simply take your thumb and rest it down top of that and push straight in, and you'll hear it click. And turn it, make sure it's real smooth. Now once you got it turned and lubricated real good, it all look like this on both ends. And take and just wipe off the excess on the outside of the hub carrier. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the hub carrier and push it onto the drive shaft so far, because I'm going to put WD-40 inside of this. So I'm only going to push it on halfway. Then once I get it full, I'm going to push on the rest of the way to lock the WD-40 inside of it. And if you get that WD-40 in there real good, just simply turn the hub carrier on that drive shaft a couple of times. And it should spin real good. Like that. You should not hear no kinds of cracking or popping. As you can see, the bearings are operating how they should be. So what you want to do next is take that washer that come off. It looks like that. Push it on the drive shaft. Then take your pin that come off and clean it. Make sure that it doesn't have no dirt in it, because these will mess up the washer. As you can see, it's real clean now. Now there's a little hole on these drive shafts. Now what you want to do is stick it through that hole, and what that pin does, it rides on that washer. It should look like this once you get it so far. Then take this black nut, make sure it's clean. Now it's got a little groove on the back of it. You want to line that up with that pin. Make sure that pin's even. Then take that groove and simply line it the same way the pin is, and you will hear it click when it goes on. And when it does, you ought to hear it. Like that. Then it should be on there real good. It should turn real smooth, as you can see. And what I want to do, put the drive shaft back into the slot on the gearbox. Now I'm going to take the turnbuckle and put it back on first. Now you don't have to put Loctite on it again, because it will be fine. I'm using on the integrity hub carrier the outer hole on the top and the outer hole on the bottom, just like how the stock hub carriers were. These are almost identical. But after you get this screw started back in, you can't do it by hand because it's screwed into the turnbuckle. So what you want is take your 2.0 Allen wrench and screw it into that hole. You want to make sure you get that screw even. This can be a pain to do. I'll let you guys see. I put my screws for the turnbuckle close to on this side of the hub carrier over here, because it makes it easier to work on. So after you get this screw started, screw it in all the way and tighten it down. And after you get this tight, just make sure that when next time you run it, they do not back out. because you do not want that happening. Just simply turn it to where you can't turn it no more. Put the drive shaft back in and just line this pin up on this side of the hub carrier. Now it will go in. Just push it in till you get it lined up with what hole you're going to use on your hub carrier. I'm using the bottom one. The front, back hub carriers are the same way with the bearings. So it should be identical, but you only need a different Allen wrench up front. Then make sure you push that in to where the threads start. And take a 2.5 Allen wrench and screw that bottom screw in. Now, it only turned a couple of times, maybe about 4 turns, maybe 5, not sure. Then just tighten that down all the way. After you get that tight, you want to make sure that it's not loose. As you can see, it should look like that when it's done. It should turn real smooth. You want to do this all the way around. Comment, like, and subscribe. Have more videos coming up soon of my / racing my dad's, my / chasing some other RCs. And then just put your wheel back on and tighten it down. But you want to make sure you get this lined up with this, because if you don't, it will cause problems. Just simply take your wheel lug wrench and your wheel nut and screw it on. Make sure that the wheel stays on there. Just screw that back on. Now just remember, when next time you do it, that you will need everything in this video that I showed you. You can either use a paper towel or a handkerchief. I use a handkerchief because I could just clean it up instead of having to use a bunch of towels. As you can see, it should roll real smooth. You should not hear no clicking or grinding coming from the wheel. But that's how you lubricate the sealed bearings inside your wheels. And stay tuned for more videos. Comment, like, and subscribe. See you guys later.